Hello, I am Donny, and I am the cute one.
And I'm Chelsea, and I am the cute one.
And it's Friday, cuties. TGIF.
TGIF.
Steve Urkel would be proud of us.
Did I do that? How are you holding up, Donny?
Oh, God.
That good, huh?
It is rough. So, how do I begin? Well, I guess like this. So, cuties, I was dreaming that I was at an interactive, immersive production of Dreamgirls. It took place in a disco. You went in costume. You didn't just watch the show. You were the show. And then the friend that I went with during One Night Only disco version, she started telling me about her life problems. So then in the dream, I just got up and moved my seat away from her because I did not have time for that.
You said, turn your wigs around and stop talking.
Turn it around to cover your face. I don't want to see those lips moving. So then as I was about to sit and enjoy this performance of One Night Only disco version, then knock on my door, my new refrigerator was here. So that's fine. I'm glad I do have a new refrigerator. The door's not falling off anymore. Things can actually be the temperature they're supposed to be. It's quite lovely. However, my dream that I was enjoying did get disrupted. So that's the way I started my day.
Blue balls via REM cycle.
So today, I went away for the weekend. Quinn, you might know him. He lives with me. He's been my husband for 10 years. He doesn't clean often. And this weekend, I went away and left my laptop open on the kitchen table where I record. I came home yesterday, didn't think anything of it. It had been closed. The apartment was clean. Lovely. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Then I looked, and he didn't know he has to, rig my computer the way you have to rig it.
Patreon cuties are familiar that Donny's computer has been truly clutching to the fabrics of life the last few years. It is a death becomes her situation. This computer should not be alive today, but It keeps on kicking. God bless her.
The hinges are broken. There is no hinge to the hinge.
Much like its owner, you could call it unhinged.
You could. So when I open it, I have to hold where the hinges would be and then open up the laptop or close it with my teeth. Like that. So once it was open, I said, you know what? Let me not close it. He didn't know that, and he just closed it like a laptop, which then caused the hinge to open and break off a full chunk of the bottom of the laptop. So now my laptop just doesn't have a bottom. The hinge is fully loose. We're in a very tough spot. So what I'm saying is, cuties, please subscribe to the Patreon because I need money bad.
Yeah. Please help us because we are going to need to get Donny a new computer.
Sooner than later.
And if one day we ghost you and we don't release an episode, you'll know why. And it's that laptop has finally just had its last gasping, rattling breath.
It's tough. And then other stuff happened with my real job at night, which also pissed me off. So I'm just a bitch cunt right now. But you know what? We're going to have a good time. And also, all of this comes off the heels, Chelsea. Yesterday, I've been keeping a secret since February. The Patreon cuties know it. The people who pay me 99 cents on Instagram know it. But I have been going through what some people call a divorce since February. So I've been unwell, but my sister was getting married during this time, so I've been keeping it a secret from my family. I told them yesterday. So it was an emotional roller coaster yesterday, and then I woke up to my Dreamgirls performance getting ruined today. It's been a rough 24 hours.
It's been a rough 24 hours. Yeah.
And 6 months, actually. It's been a rough 6 months.
Yeah, you've been going through it. And I think probably the straw that broke the camel's back was not being able to see that disco performance.
I would say so. So really quick, cuties, again, not begging for money, but
begging for money.
Not begging for money. I will work for my supper. It's not out yet, but since it is a secret I've been keeping for 6 months, I am going to have a little chat with Chelsea on Patreon with just some details. I'm not going to read you my fucking diary, but just a little detail here or there. Maybe a story you missed from March or April, or a lot from June that I've been holding tight to the chest.
Yeah, we'll have ourselves a little kiki because Stella's getting her groove back. Samantha from Sex and the City is with us.
So this weekend, I went to the Ludacris concert in Atlantic City. Had the time of my life. I was supposed to be in the nosebleed sections in the far back of the balcony, but then my friend that I went with, her boss was supposed to be there in the VIP, but then she couldn't end up going, so she gave us her tickets. So I was just 2 feet away from Ludacris this entire time. And anyone that knows me knows I am feral for Ludacris. I think he's one of top 5 hottest men in the entire world.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you actually were that close. I knew that your tickets looked good, but I thought that you just were pulling like a mom on Facebook and you had just zoomed all the way in to make it seem like you were that close, but you were really that close.
I was so close. Now, I wish someone wasn't that close, and that is this woman who was also in this section. And it started with her like this. She said, "I'm so sorry. Can I ask you a personal question?" I should have said no, Chelsea. One day I'll learn.
Yeah, nothing good is ever going to come from that.
I just always assume it's going to be, "Are you gay?" And I'm like, yeah, fine. I don't care. I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, I am, but I'm working through it through therapy. But I was like, yeah, go ahead and ask me. And she said, "Are you two boyfriend and girlfriend, or are you?" And I was like, "No, I'm gay." And she's like, "Oh, my friends always tell me I have bad gaydar, so I didn't know. I thought you were, but I didn't know." I was like, "You're right this time. Ha ha ha." Then that was it. We continued watching the show.
Should be like, "Do you enjoy missionary? Because I can tell a pillow princess when I see one. It looks like you're really a dead fish in the bedroom, lady."
She wasn't, Chelsea.
Uh-oh.
Get ready.
I think it's just because I was picturing Angela from Big Brother saying this to you.
I mean, still kind of, though. Like, okay. Well, no, but more if she lived in a swamp. This was swamp witch energy. So then she says, "Can I ask you another personal question?" I'm like, "Oh, sure." She said, "Are you a top or a bottom?" And I was like, but again, I have no shame. I want to be on Big Brother. Like, all this stuff will be said anyway. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm a bottom. So then this woman says, "I'm sorry, can I ask you another personal question?" And at this point, Ludacris is performing. Like, she is interrupting this concert experience. And she says, "Are you a platinum gay?" And I say, "Yeah." And she said, "Do you know what that is?" I was like, "Yes, I know what it is." And Cuties, if you don't know what that is, it's a gay that has never touched a vagina. So I have not sexually, and I'm a C-section baby, so I'm like double platinum.
Yeah.
I've never touched a vagina.
#1 on the iTunes charts, really.
Much like a song that we'll get to later. Then, here's where things really take a turn. 10 minutes later, she says, "One more question. Have you ever been pegged by a woman?"
Oh, no.
Yep. What you think is what you get, Chelsea. I said, "No, I haven't." Ludacris, "Move, bitch, get out the way." We're singing, we're dancing.
And you're like, "Hey, are you listening to the lyrics? Maybe we could put some real life application of "Move, bitch, get out the way."
Instead, she came and said, "One more question. How far away are you staying tonight? Would you want to come back to my hotel?" And I said, absolutely not. No, thank you. And I said, "But these tickets were really out of my price range." They were, which is why I didn't buy them. These tickets were really out of my price range, and I really want to watch this show. And she didn't talk to me again.
Well, that's good. We love someone who does respect a boundary, even if it has to peg her for it to sink in. What a night. Well, now it's the fun game I like to play called Juxtaposition with Donny and Chelsea. So while you were feral, horny,
and almost getting pegged.
Almost getting pegged by a swamp creature, I visited my nephew for the first time.
Oh!
So I went and I visited my sister-in-law and brother-in-law who have such a cute little baby. He's about to be a month old. He's so cute and so small and so tiny. He looks exactly like my oldest daughter. But Donny, you are going to be so proud of me because my sister-in-law has obviously just had a baby and is like living in the land of like, what day is it and who am I and all the things. So she was asking me like, what shows should I binge? What should I get into? And I was like, oh my God, this is actually perfect. Have you ever watched Big Brother? And I was like, because if you ever have the ability to watch so much of a show, now is your chance because you could be up late night and just check the feeds. Like you're not sleeping. You can just literally be peeping on these people all the time. So I introduced my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law to Big Brother. And Dr. Bald has done that funny thing that husbands do where they are like making fun of the show you're watching, but they like linger in the doorway. And then all of a sudden they're like casually sitting on the couch. And then like before you know it, they are calling people by their first name and pissed about alliances. And that's what happened last year, because let's not forget, you came to visit me and I watched like truly 20 hours of Big Brother in a row to get caught up. And I didn't realize that in that time I had also indoctrinated him into this cult, because then as I'm sitting there explaining the rules of Big Brother to my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, Dr. Bald's like, oh, and don't forget to tell them about the power of veto and tell them why they might want to throw the comp. And I'm like, oh, we're using the word comp. Like, you have been paying attention. And so the four of us, when all the kids went to bed.
Wait, did your oldest not get to participate? She had to be stuck with the kids?
You know, she is 6, so she did have a bedtime, but she did see, like, the opening part. Like, she did get the chance to meet Ainsley, the AI bot, and she had a lot to say about her. But anyway, so, yeah, the four of us got all caught up on Big Brother, and then I got a text from my sister-in-law on Sunday when I was driving home, and she was watching Sunday's episode. So I really feel like it's a full circle moment. I went from talking shit to talking shit and dabbling to watching to now, like, I have the full white robes in the cult, and I am now bringing others into the fold.
I am so proud of you. And I didn't know this backstory, but you are so into it that you suggested that this week's Patreon episode was us talking about Big Brother.
I know.
Now, I am wet about that, but Chelsea, you and I famously don't have the same type. However, this is the closest I think you had to watch out for Little Bo Peep, because I am almost as feral as I was at that Ludacris concert that Dr. Bald is so invested.
Okay, that was a lot of insular inside jokes from the podcast. It even took me a moment to...
Basically, I might blow him.
You want to fuck Dr. Bald is what you're saying. And you're coming to visit me this weekend, so I really need to watch out for Bo Peep and the sheep. Wow.
If I put on a bonnet, it's a wrap.
Now, if you don't know this reference, if you're new to the podcast, I'm sorry. And also go back to our She's the Man episode, one of our first episodes we ever did, in which Donny talked about ruining an engagement by blowing someone. And to quote BuzzFeed, the reason might surprise you.
All right. So, cuties, if you want to see me get wet, you can watch us You can watch us on YouTube, where I'm sure they've shut our account down by now.
God knows. We're days away.
As you know, I edit another podcast, and there was a guest on that was a stand-up comedian with a YouTube special, and she said they shut her whole account down for saying the C word.
You knew that, and you started the show by saying that you were a grumpy C word.
Well, she has lots of followers.
Well, I would like to have lots of followers one day too, Donny. I wonder why we aren't getting more. At some point, it becomes self-sabotage that you heard that as you were editing, and then you quite literally opened the show by calling yourself a cunt. And now you've made me say it.
Oh, God. Well, I clicked that button that says not for kids, so that should be enough. Anyway.
We warned them.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're on YouTube. Go over there, subscribe, like some videos, leave some comments. Maybe that'll show the algorithm that you don't care that we say those bad words. You want more of us.
Give me more. Britney Spears.
Beautiful.
Michael Scott. Okay, so this week brought us Andy Cohen confirming a possible Real Housewives of New Jersey shakeup, a Sarah Jessica Parker Jennifer Hudson reunion in Paris, news of Phaedra Parks returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, a JD Vance versus Jennifer Aniston feud, Robert Downey Jr. landing another role in the Marvel Universe, and if all of that wasn't enough, Ashley Tisdale's He Said, She Said going platinum.
I have a few things to say about a few of those things.
A big week.
And what really was, number one, it was a long time coming for He Said, She Said. Thank you, Ashley. You've made it. It's been platinum in my house since it came out, but now the world can see it for what it is. Number two, I tweeted Jennifer Hudson, and I said, I hope you cursed her out for that ugly purse from Sex and the City. And number three, as far as JD Vance, I don't support him by any means. I think he's hideous. I reported someone to HR because she said I looked like him this week at work.
You said, bitch, I don't need eyeliner. These are my real eyelashes.
But as far as him fucking the couch, I think we should make fun of him less for it. I think all boys do it.
Wait, when did we find out he fucks a couch?
I don't know how people truly found out, but that's what everyone is saying. And, like, not just saying it in a make fun of way. Let me Google it and see.
I would love that it would just be like a baseless middle school rumor that's followed him his whole life. You know, when you come home from middle school and your parents are like, it's not going to matter in 10 years, honey, except if you're JD Vance. And then when you're the vice president nominee, people will still be talking about you fucking that couch cushion. Isn't fucking a couch kind of like a universal boy experience, though?
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like if you grew up with a penis, aren't you just sticking it everywhere?
You are. And if you're really good, you put Vaseline in a bag and then put that in between.
Ugh. That's too specific.
So you know that movie Hillbilly Elegy with Amy Adams and Glenn Close? Glenn Close's character is JD Vance's grandma. Like, that movie is based on a real life biography.
It's a book. Yeah.
So in that book, they talk about the grandson fucking a couch. And he is the grandson.
I love that that's how we know about that. Like a true airing of the dirty laundry situation. So back to your original point, you think that we shouldn't make fun of him for that?
I think I'm fine making fun of Republicans for anything. Like, haha, you have 2 eyeballs. Like, anything. It's fine. You're weird. But when people are acting like that is weird behavior in itself, when we know all men have done it at least once.
When you want to know, did he know the trick of putting Vaseline in a bag?
Right. I bet he didn't. He seems like a dry humper.
Oh, he was raw dogging that sofa.
Yeah.
He's a real lazy boy, am I right? Well, speaking of America, the Olympics are happening.
They are.
I spend all year, every year, talking shit about our country, talking about the systemic racism running rampant, talking about our broken 2-party system, talking about college and the predatory loans, all the things. You guys are familiar. I am up on my soapbox. I live here. There is something about the Olympics. I turn into a patriot. I am proud to be an American. I am spiritually a bald eagle as soon as those opening ceremonies commence. I love the Olympics.
Do you?
I love them.
Oh.
Do you not watch?
Not really.
I was watching the opening ceremony.
No, I did watch that.
Well, when you're blowing Dr. Bald, you can both talk shit about the Olympics because during the opening ceremonies, I was like, this is amazing. Like, look at all these countries coming together. And he's like, well, you know that, because he's a history teacher. So, my God, he just blabbers on about facts of our yesteryear. But he's like, well, you know that it started because there wasn't enough war and they wanted to ramp up the nationalism. But he was just going on. And I'm like wiping away a brave tear. And I'm like, look at all these countries and look at the flags waving together. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, you said you watched the opening ceremonies. Do you watch any of the events? Do you have like a favorite event?
Not in the summer. Winter Olympics, I watch figure skating. Of course,
Okay.
I am a gay man. But if I were to watch the summer ones, probably just swimming so I could see dick prints. But I can just see photos of that.
You don't like gymnastics? The women just took home gold.
Oh.
Simone Biles is fighting hate on the internet again. She had a hurt calf and she still fucking stuck that landing.
She is iconic. However, gymnastics gets a little repetitive for me. You can only do so much on those things.
But the best memes come out of that sport. Did you see the man with the glasses who just kind of like napped and then turned on like a Chuck E. Cheese animatronic character and then just fucking whipped it around that pommel horse, just pop, 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 pop. The U.S. men gymnastics, they brought home their first medal. But he was like the clincher. Like all of them had done well, and then he was the last event. He only came to do that pommel horse and swing his little legs around, and he did it. And then they won, and it was so exciting. I had full goosebumps, and then the memes that came out of it were just pictures of him, and they said, this Ken's job is horse.
Oh, I did see that. I just didn't know who he was. Thank you for helping me navigate this world.
You're welcome. So let's circle back to maybe some Olympic talk that you can. Yes, and tell me about the opening ceremonies. What were your thoughts?
I think whoever planned it was on acid.
Not good acid.
No. Every time I thought I was catching like some kind of through line here, we went in a different direction. When Minions showed up, Chelsea, I thought I hit the remote and went to a different channel by accident. But I didn't.
Simultaneously so boring, but so chaotic. I'm like, how can this much stuff be happening, and yet still I'm watching this like Game of Thrones character just walking down a runway. Like, I know she was supposed to be Joan of Arc, but it did feel very much like... Oh, was that who
she was?
I guess that was the reference. It felt like Tilda Swinton or whatever. Tilda, what's her name? Tilda
Swinton.
Twinton?
Swinton. Tilda Swinton.
You know, it looked like Twinton from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like, very white queen just walking to, like, fuck some children up with some taffy.
Yeah, and then we had Marie Antoinette headless for a second, lip syncing.
Yeah.
Holding her own head, which that is a good Halloween costume.
That is a great Halloween costume. Also, there was like a really slow boat parade. Now, I do think that you and I would kill it as news reporters at the Olympics, because you don't need to have any qualifications. You don't need any knowledge of the games. You just need to be able to talk until it's time to go to commercial. Like, I think that was my favorite part of the opening ceremony, is like when Hoda was on the screen and they're clearly supposed to have a boat in the background, but there was no boat to be seen because all the boats are going 2 miles an hour. And at one point they finally see the boat. They're so happy that they've seen the boat because they've been talking about bullshit for 20 minutes. And then as the boat goes under, I think they thought they cut to commercial, or maybe she's just so unhinged that she said it on live television, but she said, if I hurl myself off the bridge, do you think I could land on the boat? I just feel like you and I would really thrive.
We would.
But not everybody was as thrilled as Hoda about the opening ceremonies, because Christians everywhere got big mad about drag queens being at the Olympics. They thought it was making fun of the Last Supper, but it was actually like a reference to the feast of Dionysus, like the god of wine, and, you know, from Fantasia and such.
Right. And, like, you should know what the Last Supper looks like. Nobody is painted blue and sitting on a serving tray at the Last Supper.
They were like, well, there's Mary. Mary Magdalene. Oh, that old tramp. None of that stopped old Candace Cameron Bure coming out from her old cunt cave to weigh in. Now that's 3. That's the rule of 3.
The rule of
there.
3, okay.
She took to her Instagram story and said, to watch such an incredible event that's going to take place over the next 2 weeks and see the opening ceremonies completely blasphemied and mock the Christian faith with their interpretation of the Last Supper was disgusting. It made me sad. And someone said, you shouldn't be sad. You should be mad about it. And I'm like, trust me, it makes me mad, but I'm more sad. I'm sad for the souls. Shut up about my soul, Candace.
Yeah, nobody cares about our souls.
Candace, if you think the rapture is going to happen and we're all going to be here roasting from the sun and you're zooting up to heaven, why are you worried about me? Why don't you keep your side of the street clean?
Shut up is number 1. Number 2, I'm just going to say something. And we're really getting places here. Think about how judgmental, I'll just call them these people so I don't target anyone. But think about how judgmental these people are. Okay? Candace Cameron is one of these people I speak of. Think about how judgmental they are. If there's only one thing I need to believe for me to go to the same place she goes, and then I go, it doesn't matter anything else I say, anything else I do, I just need to believe that one thing. If I'm up there, she does not want me there with her and her kids. She doesn't. She doesn't like me. She doesn't want me there. So why is she trying to save souls of people she hates?
True. Bringing it back to Big Brother, you got to put you up on the block. You got to evict you on out of here. You don't want to throw a lifeline, the power of veto, and be like, hey, why don't you come over to the good side? Stop supporting these drag queens.
Exactly. Because if I go to heaven with her, I am still going to have a troll account where I make fun of her.
Yeah, that's an eternity of you bumping elbows in the heavenly locker room on your way to the sauna.
And I know Jesus would laugh at some of the things I say about her.
Yes, I'm once again encouraging, if you're a new listener to the show, please, and Donny, please repost. I know you did recently repost, but still to this day, the funniest thing I think you've ever posted was the 24 hours. How long was it? 10 hours?
2 hours.
Wow, you covered a lot of ground in 2 hours. The 2 hours Donny spent pretending to be Candace Cameron Bure, whatever the fuck her name is, on Twitter. And some of the tweets that just, I mean, talk about heavenly. I think that divinity was speaking through you. I think Jesus was trolling Candace and you were but a vessel. That was your version of speaking in tongues, was providing the public with that commentary.
It was my favorite thing I've ever done. But anyway, I'll repost it. Let's talk about Jody, who follows me on Instagram. So when I repost the DJ Tanner thing, she always sees it.
I love that.
She's never commented on it yet, but I know in my heart that she loves it.
I think she gives one of these when she sees it. Like, I think she sees your story and she goes...
Yeah, I would agree with that. So she said, tell me you don't know about art or history without telling me you don't know about art or history. That's all she needs to say.
Brilliant. One last thing about the Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about Flava Flav, because what a delight. What a delight of a human.
Always has
Did
been.
you see that he has a 5-year sponsorship deal with the U.S. women's water polo team?
I didn't. That's cool. I thought you were going to say with Red Lobster.
Oh, well, I know you're always holding out hope. He is trying to save his local Red Lobster still, so he can juggle many things. He's not going to put that dream to rest just because he's supporting the dreams of another team. But he is the official team sponsor and their designated hype man, and there's this hilarious picture of him, like, in the pool, surrounded. I mean, very heartwarming too, but just hilarious because it's Flava Flav with all of these amazing water polo people. But when he realized that the team had to have second and third jobs in order to make a living, because even though they're the best in the world, they're not fairly compensated, he was like, well, fuck that. And so he's sponsoring the whole team for 5 years.
Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing? And in the process, people like me, who I've never watched water polo before, but I like to see Flava Flav in the stands, apparently viewership is way, way, way up because he's like bringing awareness to the sport.
That is so cool.
So that's all I had to say. I just was feeling really patriotic.
I'm feeling not patriotic. I'm feeling like a bitch in a piss poor mood today, Chelsea.
Great, sure.
But I'm not alone. And that is good to know. The girls are spiraling this week. So I brought 2 different stories, but the through line here is bitches need to check their mental health. So we're going to start with this.
We're going to start with a good hard look in the mirror.
Oh, for sure. But also, this might be way before your time. You might not even know this is the title of a sitcom. But are you familiar with The Facts of Life?
I've heard you talk about it a lot.
Not a lot.
Well, you don't talk about anything a little bit, Donny. If you're talking about something, you're talking about it more than the average person, I'd say.
Okay. The theme song goes like this. You take the good, you take the bad, the facts of life, the facts of life. And it was about these 4 girls that lived at a, like, boarding school, and then the woman that took care of them. And the 4 girls were from 4 different walks of life. Like this princess girl, a fat girl, a black girl on roller skates, and a lesbian.
Was Carol Burnett on the show?
She was not. But Kim Fields from Real Housewives of Atlanta, she was the black girl on roller skates. Okay. So one of them, the girl that played the fat girl, she was on a podcast recently, and they talked about how there was like public support for a reboot, and the network wanted a reboot. And she said one of the girls went behind our backs to try to make a separate deal for a spinoff just for herself. It was 100% Kim Fields. There's no way it was anybody else. She didn't say that, but like, it was the Tootie spinoff. So then the podcast host said, well, there's always one greedy bitch. And she said, you know what? She was a greedy bitch. And I know. So that's that. That's all I had to say about that. I really have nothing to back up, but that's fun. Now, my second story, and you will know the characters and players in this one, is Sophia Bush. Mm-hmm. And she is truly spiraling because she posted this first on her Instagram stories and said, have you ever been so tired of petty that you want to step on necks when all of us good gals are out here advocating for women, and then there's some petty ass C words being petty? Don't play with me. I'm too grown and too tired. I'm a decade past willing to be gentle. I will bury you. And then 17 minutes later, she said, I'm done when they go low, we go high for over a decade. Dare me. I'm too old. I'm tired. And I am not here to play with you and your faux online lives versus my very real and very well documented life. Try me one more time. And when, after I post this, you say petty, I dare you to acknowledge that this is what you desire and in others you call fierce. Try me. Try me. I think it's because she cheated with that soccer player.
Yeah.
But mama, relax.
That's very like Bravo blogger coded, I feel.
Yeah. 100%.
That is wild. And 17 minutes later, that tells me that she was Angela up in that HOH room, muttering to herself and being like, they're all out to get me. I'm going to show them with this speech.
Yeah, and that's what I don't get it. Sometimes I do things online and you're like, Donny, that was too much. But for the most part, I feel like I am nuts. I understand I'm nuts. And I also understand that I get my feelings hurt easily. And I understand that I get jealous easily and I hate people easily. But I still feel like I know not to put that online and let people know they have the upper hand. So when celebrities don't know that, like if Oprah talks shit about Sophia Bush, then fine, maybe you can do this.
Threaten to step on Oprah's
her neck, yeah. But if it's just like random fans or haters, like Sophia, baby, you are still the one with the career and the girlfriend. Like whatever these people are saying are punching up. So for you to even acknowledge them is unnecessary.
Right. At that point, just log out or get a social media manager to do whatever you need to post. Like you don't actually need to even waste your time weighing into the dialogue.
Right.
And actually by acknowledging whatever discourse is happening only encourages the people to continue talking because they know that you're listening.
Yes. Which is why she had to come back 17 minutes later. They were probably tip-tapping away.
Yeah, she was reading those DMs. And she's like, motherfuckers, I said try me. I'm too old for this. I'm tired. I'm going to say petty again. So let's move on to Cutie of the Week.
Wonderful.
I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. I'm in a music hyper-focus tunnel right now. So number one, Cuties, if you have any new music, any music that you've been listening to, slide into my DMs because I am open. I need some new music in my life. But I found a singer-songwriter named Isabella Pless, I believe is how you say her last name. And I have not felt so personally attacked by lyrics in a long time. Her song Eldest Daughter, it came on my Discover Weekly or This One's For You AI Spotify algorithm when I was driving home from meeting my nephew, and I immediately started crying, and Dr. Bald was like, are you okay? And I was like, can you just look up who's singing this? And then I binged all of her songs, and I think she's 20, so I don't know if I should be resonating with her songs that much, but I just encourage everybody, go listen to Isabella Pless.
Also, you ignored it, but you just said to send you any song things you should listen to. And in the chat, Ashley Tisdale, he said, she said, famously a platinum single.
I did ignore that. I saw it pop up and I just kept it moving.
My cutie of the week is 4 women from Bravo because they're single, ready to mingle, and they're getting their own dating show. And those 4 women are Luann, Shannon Bedore, Giselle, Ashley Darby.
I think those are great candidates.
Yeah. I don't like that there's 2 from one franchise. I don't know why that's necessary, but I'm here for it.
Did you say Giselle?
Yeah.
I could get rid of her because I don't believe she's going to be authentic in dating.
That's true.
But I would love to see Ashley Darby.
Oh, I would be fine. And I know a lot of people don't like her, but if this show was just Ashley Darby, I don't need the rest of them.
I will see how Giselle does, but the other 3, I think they're covering wonderful, different markets of dating because Shannon Bedore is going to be pathetic in a delicious way.
Can't wait. So that's my cutie of the week. Cuties, one more time, patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. You can give us money so I can get a better computer, or you can go to our YouTube and like and subscribe and leave comments, or you can give us a 5-star review. Any of those things help us immensely, and we thank you for it. And on that note, we will talk to you later. Love you like a sister.